Today we are going to do more approximating irrational numbers. And before I get started, you should have already written down your steps for approximating irrational numbers. First, you want to ask yourself, is it a perfect square? And to know that, you need to make sure you look at your cheat sheet and I go, hey, are my numbers perfect squares? For example, 1 is a perfect square, 4 is a perfect square because 2 times 2 would equal 4. Our third steps would be, our second part would be how far away is the number from each perfect square. Then we graph it on a number line and we estimate the decimal. So then we are going to ask ourselves how far away is a number from each perfect square. We're going to graph it on a number line and estimate the decimal. Now let's take a look at this example. You guys did this yesterday as an example for as your exit ticket. And to be said, we want to approximate what's the in-between numbers. What is square root of 29 in between? And we really don't know. Why? Because square root of 29 is not a perfect square. We know that for sure. So we know that it's not a perfect square. So if it's not a perfect square, I'm going to go to my cheat sheet and I'm going to look, hey, this is 29. 29 is between which perfect square? And if you look at it, 29 is between square root of 25 and square root of 36. So we know that 29 is between square root of 25 and square root of 36. Now we want to know how far away is the number from each perfect square. Well, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, these are 4 away. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. This is 7 away. Since it's 4 and 7 away, I'm just going to graph my square root, which should be square root of 25 and square root of 36. My perfect square numbers, square root of 25 equals 5, square root of 36 equals 6. Between 5 and 6 will be 5.6. Now, I know for a fact that square root of 29 is not in the middle. Why? Because take a look. 1 is 4 away and 1 is 7 away. We know that square root of 29 is 4 away from square root of 25. And we know that square root of 29 is 36 away from square root of 29. Square root of 29 is 7 away from square root of 36. And we want to ask ourselves, is it going to be on the left-hand side or the right-hand side when we approximate? Which one is it closer to? We know that square root of 29 is closer to square root of 25. That means it should be on the left-hand side of this number line. Now, do I know how close? Well, you could do the square root and you could estimate what this one is. And 5 times 6, 5.6 times 5.6 equals to 31.36. So if that's square root of 25, this right here will be square root of 31.36. We know that square root of 29 should be closer to this number. So it should be approximately about in this area. And if you think about it, it'd be 5.1, 5.2. And I have a few of you guys that like to do it that way, which is okay. I would say 29, square root of 29 is approximately about 5.3. So we are saying square root of 29 is approximately at about 5.3 or almost 5.4, right? It's between those. I'm going to use a calculator and I'm going to check 29 square root. It's about 5 point and we round to the nearest tenth, so it would be about 5.4. So we were pretty close. This will be our final answer. Moving on today, you are going to be comparing numbers. And comparing numbers, we're going to start with this first. Ask yourself, true or false? Is 6 greater than square root of 35? Well, let me ask you this. 6, to make that a perfect square. To make 6 a perfect square. Oh, I know why. To make 6 a perfect square. Let's write it on this side. 6 squared is equal to 36, which is equal to 6, right? So we know that we're going to ask ourselves, square root of 36, is that greater than square root of 35? And that is a true statement. Okay. Now you can approximate this, and this number should be between 36, and if I look at my perfect square, between 36 and 36 and 25. 25, but we know it is closer to 36. But it is not, because 36 is already equal to 6. So this is a true statement. Now we're going to compare today. And to compare, here's your step. First is you want to estimate the square root. Now solve each side and then compare. And let's take a look. We have square root of 3.4. Why I made a mistake here. That circle should have been right here between those two. So square root of 3 plus 5. Is that greater than, less than, or equal to 3 plus square root of 5? If you notice, we have two different square root. And we should approximate square root of 3. We know for a fact square root of 3 should be between square root of 1, and square root of 4, based on the perfect square. And if you look at our cheat sheet here, 3 should be in between here somewhere. So it will be 1 and 4. We know that square root of 3 is in between those. Now, is square root of 3 closer to 4, or is it closer to 1? And we know it is closer here. That's only 1 away. So since square root of 4 is equal to 2, we know that square root of 3 has to be about 1.8. So we're going to write it up here, 1.8. Now let's check out square root of 5. Square root of 5, and we're going to go look at our perfect square chart. Square root of 5 is between which two number? And I would say it's between these two numbers here, 4 and 9, which is square root of 9, square root of 4. So we know that it is between square root of 4 and square root of 9. The distance away is 1, and the distance away from this one is 4. So we know that since this is equal to 2, this number should be closer there, and it should be about 2.2. So we're going to say that square root of 5 is approximately 2.2. So 2.2. Now if I take a calculator, and you won't be having a calculator during this section. So if you think about money, if I have $5 and $1.80, this would equal a total of $6.80. Now if I have $3 and $2.20, this would equal $5.20. We know for sure that square root of 3 plus 5 should be greater than 3 plus square root of 5.